Thank you very much for joining. I'll be a moderator of this session. So yeah, let's get started. Do you see my screen now? Okay, thank you. So welcome to Virtual Briefing Youth Engagement TICAD9 and Youth Agenda 2055. So during the session, please turn on your camera if you can so that we can see your active reactions. But at the same time, please turn off your microphone while you are not speaking. In this briefing, we're going to talk about overview of TICAD, youth engagement vision in TICAD, youth agenda 2055, past activities and upcoming events timelines. So while listening to these presentations, please imagine how you can be engaged and put your own organization into this project and work on together to create the future we want. This is the timeline. After this opening remarks, we're gonna hear from presentations from JICA, UNDP, and then this youth project team is gonna talk about the background of this project and events that we've done so far. And then we're gonna have Q&A session. Then we're gonna talk about walk through the timeline for the upcoming events and then Q&A and closing this event. So yeah, please enjoy and feel free to ask any question in the chat and Q&A session. So let's move on to the presentations from JICA and UNDP. First presentation is from JICA. Mine-san, can I pass the microphone to you?
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much, Midori-san, Terry-san.
Thank you.
So can I share the screen?
Yes, of course.
Millicent, I think you will need the co-host's permission to be able to share your screen.
Yeah. Can I have the co-host who show the presentation? I think.
Now you can share your screen.
Right. Okay. Just wait a moment. I cannot find the screen. It doesn't work.
It has a green light in the middle of your screen with an arrow.
Yeah, of course, I push the bottom green line, the sharing the screen, but I cannot find the window.
You have to choose a window or a tab.
Yeah, I opened already the window, but the screen does not.
If it takes time, you can send it to us by email so that we can show it on behalf of you. So while waiting for that, can we ask Kuchika-san to go first?
Sorry about that.
Yes. So let me go first. And thank you so much. So let me start. So hi, everyone. Thank you so much for connecting from everywhere across Africa. I see you have already introduced yourselves from different countries in the continent. So I really, I'm happy to see everybody joining across the continent. So thank you so much for joining. So my name is Chika Kondo. I'm working for the UNDP, United Nations Development Program. I'm based in Tokyo in Japan, but I used to work in some of the countries in Africa, and I'm now in charge of Africa-Japan relationship, especially through the platform called TICAD, Tokyo International Conference on African Development. So while my colleague from JICA, I think he was supposed to present JICA's expectation for TICAD and so on, but let me introduce UNDP's view on the youth engagement. I am sure that colleagues from ADNJ and AAYN are going to present what these organizations are going to do in terms of how to engage youth across Africa in the platform of Tokyo International Conference on African Development. But our role as a UNDP is to co-organize this Tokyo International Conference on African Development together with the other partners like the government of Japan, as well as the African Union Commission, World Bank, and the UN OSA. And this conference has marked its 30th anniversary last year, and it has just started a sort of new era of TICAD, looking into the ninth summit, which will be convened at the level of heads of states in Yokohama in Japan in next August next year. So in preparation for this TICAD9 at the summit level meeting, how we want to transform this long-standing platform for Africa is to have more opportunities for youth to raise a voice and participate in this high-level platform. This platform has been well recognized by the African member states as, the oldest international multi-sectoral conference to discuss about the important agenda and topics to advance the sustainable development in Africa, but as well as how to advance the partnership between Japan and Africa. And as you see, today, Africa has grown, of course, compared to the 30 years back. And the role that African countries and the people would need to play in the global platform has raised, the expectation is high. So as a co-organizer of TICAD, as a UNDP, we would like to pretty much enhance, first of all, the ownership and leadership of African countries and the people. So we want to engage more stakeholders from Africa, not only the stakeholders from Japan. That's the first one. And the second element is that we would like to also transform TICAD as a valuable platform with the intellectual presentation. So for that, we would like to present some of the co-creative, innovative solutions between Japan and Africa, and some of the out-of-box consideration and thinking with the future-centric ideas. That's the second. And then the third, in order for us to achieve, especially the second item of having a future-centric vision on the continent, we really need the future generations' engagement in this TICAD platform. So therefore, we have been supporting the activities of AAYN and ADNJ to come up with a concrete set of proposal and an action plan for TICAD, which has been already adapted, the future-centric approach, future design approach. So I am sure that you will have more information on how they have progressed and where they are going. But I really hope that more youth and more youth communities across Africa will be joining in this platform. And although we are remote in terms of physical location, but I hope that we will be closer and we are going to be the one to create the sustainable and prosperous future through TICAD platform. So that's my small intervention, and I would like to hand over back to Mine-san. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Chika-san.
Yeah, thank you very much, Chika-san. Yeah, thank you very much for sharing my screen. So I think you can see already my PowerPoint. So let me introduce myself the first. My name is Naoki Mine, Senior Deputy Director of JICA Africa Department. So thank you very much giving me the opportunity to the presentation. So first of all, I'd like to explain briefly about what the TICAD is and how JICA is involved in this conference. So please go on to the next slide. Yeah, I think, as you know already, the TICAD is Tokyo International Conference of Africa Development. So the government of Japan has been leading this conference since 1993. They co-hosted by United Nations and World Bank and African Union. So could you please keep in mind that JICA is not one of the co-hosts. JICA, in general, JICA takes a role to organize the side event at the margin of the TICAD. So normally the JICA the organize the side event. It's like more than the 30 events for 3 or 4 days, just nearby the venue of the TICAD. So when it comes to the recent TICAD, the 2022, the August, the TICAD 8 was successfully held in Tunisia and Tunis, at the presence of 48 African countries, including 20 head of states. So after that, I think you know already the TICAD9 will be held in Yokohama, Japan on August 2025. So could you go on to the next slide? Yeah, this is a photo of the first TICAD 1993 was hosted in Japan and 48 African countries, 5 African head of states and governments, and 1,000 participants from Africa, Japan, and the international community. The next, please. So let me explain briefly the background of TICAD and Africa development. So this graph shows the trends of the GNI per capita in Africa and the poverty rate for several decades. So regarding the TICAD process, when it started in 1993, at the time, Africa's economy a little bit stagnated, and the poverty rate is at the peak. So TICAD started at the timing, but after that, the poverty rate was declining, and the economy is going up recently. TICAD. So that's why. So we have the TICAD has a history of 30 years from 1993. The next, please. So yeah, this is the overview, the history of TICAD 1 to 8. So this slide shows the co-organizer, team, and characteristic. The TICAD was held normally every 5 years. At the beginning, it was held in Tokyo or in Japan. But next, please. But from TICAD 5, it was held every 3 years. 3 years, and the venue that also was Japan and Africa in rotation. So at the first time the TICAD in Africa is held in Nairobi, Kenya. It was TICAD 6. And also the TICAD 8 was held in Tunis and Tunisia. The next year, so we have in Japan, in Yokohama. The next, please. Yeah, this is the slide of the overview of JICA as a corporation. So I think you know already JICA is one of the governmental agency to implement the official development assistance. Yeah, so regarding the Africa, so according to the annual report 2020, so JICA has financed 185 billion yen for 49 African countries, the equivalent to 1.2 billion the US dollar for 49 countries. The next, please. Yeah, I'd like to explain briefly the JICA, how JICA is involved to support the Africa. The JICA has the three characteristics of the cooperation with Africa. One of the people-oriented, one of the Africa's the creation, Africa's ownership and co-creation, and also the lastly the utilizing Japanese experience. So the you can see the the right part of the next the right part of the overview, the cooperation by JICA. So I think you can, as you can see, the 524 billion Japanese yen for 2019 and 2022. We have financed this amount for these 3 years, so equivalent to the 3.4 billion US dollar. So yeah, which consists of the technical assistance and the financial loan and grant. So JICA has supported the Africa with this amount and for the long history. The next, please. Yeah, before we finish my short presentation, JICA has 31 the local office in Africa. So if you can find the office in your countries, please feel free to contact with me and with the office. So that's all of my presentation. Thank you very much for your attention. Merci beaucoup de votre aimable attention. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Minasan. Okay, now let's start the presentation from the project teams. First is going to be background on Youth Agenda 2055 policy proposal, what it is, and the vision and purpose from David, AD, and Jay.
Thank you.
David,
can you hear me?
Yep. Yes.
Can you hear me? Great,
yes,
great. Thank you, everyone. Thank you to UNDP and JICA for their continued support in this process. I'm grateful to hear about the background from them as well. Thank you, everyone, for being here. I'm David Kondo, originally from Benin, and I'm actually joining this session from Benin. So I'm also in Africa now. And I'm the president of the Africa Diaspora Network Japan, which is one of the core partners for this, or initiator, I would say, for this policy proposal. So we are working together with AAYN, Asia, Africa, Japan Youth Next. So let me give you a brief background on how we get here. And, we're talking about TICAD, but what we are envisioning here, as you can see the name, Youth Agenda 2055, is beyond TICAD. We are now discussing the whole relationship of Japan, Africa. And how did this start? So when you go back with all the background that's shared actually by JICA, and so you will understand why we come to this point as youth to say we want to be involved in the process. So this process has been going on Japan-Africa relation, Japan government, JICA, and different partners have been really working very hard to strengthen Japan-Africa relationship. But at some point, we as youth, we realized that this process has been going on without youth involvement. So youth opinion. So that's where the discussion started between our two organizations, AON and ADNJ, to see how can youth contribute to this Japan-Africa relationship. And we come up with this policy proposal, and we'd like to make it a win-win partnership approach. So we are going from the aid or the support to a win-win partnership, because we know Japan have been supporting Africa a lot, and we don't know what is happening in the 30 year. And what is going to happen in the next 30 years is going to affect not only this generation, but the next generation. It means it will affect us as a youth. It will affect our children, our grandchildren. So how can this decision be made without our opinion? So that's where we come up with this proposal. And the proposal is very straightforward. The key element in this is to make sure that we bring up a win-win and sustainable strategy between Japanese youth and African youth, and envision how we create impact for the next 30 years in both Africa and Japan. Because for us, we are not focusing only in one part. And that's why you will see in every discussion we have been making, we're talking about co-creation. The co-creation is the key for this policy proposal. It means you from Africa and you from Japan will come together and then propose the action, the policy, plus an action plan, which they will be implementing through the years until 2055. Now we are discussing this from next TICAD, and TICAD is a platform that offers us this opportunity to start. So coming to people in this session, that's something I've been making sure that I make clear on the approach. Because when you talk about youth, you talk about passion, you talk about action. So I don't want us to be in this policy approach and wait for support only, but we want youth to be very active in the process. So we are not here to expect someone to come to do on our behalf the future we want. But we want to take the lead in this future that we want for ourselves and for our children and for the next generation. Now, when we're taking this action, we would like to get everyone together. It means different partners. As you can see, we have different stakeholders already supporting, and we want the stakeholder from both Japan, from Africa, and globally. And youth organization, of course, you are already stakeholders to this. Don't wait. Please actively connect with us and bring your idea. Tell us what you think we can do now, what you think we can do next, and tell us what you are already doing and how you think we can be involved to do it together to create a bigger impact, even with a minimum resource. So that's what we believe in, and that's what we are working on very hardly as a team to make sure that we get things done. Now, as moving forward with our strategy, we make it clear from the policy, there is the second part, which is the action plan. So the action plan will be happening, every, for example, 2 or 3 years, we'll be reporting what we have been doing, and then the policy will be there for the whole 30 next year, as we have been planning. So all these details will be given to you, but to be in the time frame that have been given to me, I will not be too long, but I will summarize my thought from the point that we as a youth have been observing the TICAD and have been appreciating what TICAD have been doing for both Japan and Africa for youth, but we decided now to be part of it, to be actively involved. And we are happy that all the stakeholders here who have been supporting this initiative agree with us that this conversation of the youth of Japan, Africa cannot be done without our generation, without youth, without us. And we're very grateful for that. So that's one of the key points. And then moving forward, we want everyone here to bring any resource they have, any talent they have, any skill they have, and make sure that this policy proposal become a successful history in Japan-Africa relation. And it will impact not only Japan or not only Africa, but will impact youth from around the world, because we are using a sustainable approach that will make sure that we design the future that impact all of us and anyone around the world who deserve this process. So this is what I wanted to say. I'm sure you will have time to have questions. You will have time to hear more detail from our team. But talking about the background, those will be the key element I would want to highlight for now. And of course, call for action and make sure that we are all involved in this process. Thank you very much. And I would love to leave the floor back to the moderator. Thank you so much.
Thank you, David-san. Yeah, as he mentioned, we're going to have a Q&A session right after the next presentation. So please ask questions at the Q&A session later on, if you have any. Okay, so next one is from Nebi-san, AYN. Are you ready?
Just give me 1 second
Yeah, of course.
to share my screen now. Hopefully.
Maybe accept the co-host that I've given you to be able to share the screen.
Oh, sorry, could you say it again? Yes, I accept the co-host. I'm just sharing my, the one that you are seeing here is the screen. I always have issue for sharing my screen, so I'm really sorry for that.
No worries.
So just give me one second. I think that this time I only have you. What do you see now?
It's still black, but coming out.
Okay. Sorry,
Or should I? Yeah.
Yeah, please.
Yeah. Just 1 minute. No, 1
Okay.
second. Okay, here it is. Do you see my screen right now?
Yes, perfect. I can see your screen now.
Okay, let's get started.
Okay, let's go. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Nebibanga Evina. I am from Cameroon, and I am a core member of Africa Asia Youth Nest. I am also naturally a member of African Diaspora Network in Japan. So in the continuity of what David was already talking about, I would like to share what we have done so far about the Agenda 2055 policy proposal. So first, from January of this year to March, we launched an online questionnaire survey. This survey aimed to capture the aspiration, concerns, and ideas of young people across various regions of Africa and Japan. Our objective was to gather insights directly from youths to ensure that the initiative and the policy we developed, like David was saying, truly reflects their voices. Although youth's energy, of course, we know youth's energy, David say youth's energy drive action. It is critical to our future. It is also very important to discuss with stakeholders, such as we did with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Japan this year, to make sure that we are on the same page and understand the vision that they have for youths. So the next things that we did this year is that we organized a 3-day future design session between July and August this year, also conducted online. So I can see that few of you participate in that breakout session. I can see some of you that we were discussing that time. This innovative approach brought together youth participants to engage in a structured discussion and exercise using the future design methodology. And as you know, the future only exists as a projection of the present. So it is important to build that future for the present. So participants envision future scenarios, collaboratively brainstorm, step forward, achieving their ideal futures. This session was both inspiring and insightful, I think so, allowing young people to actively participate in the design of their futures. So, and finally, on the August August this year, 2024, on 24th, we held an official side event during the TICAD ministerial meeting in Tokyo. I think it's the next page. Yeah, thank you very much.
Do we change to the next slide?
No, it is this one. This is the slide of the TICAD ministerial event. So you can see here David-san, Yasumi-san, who was representing us, was there at the event with many officials and many ambassadors of our countries. So this was a key moment where youth voices, ideas, and proposed action were presented to key stakeholders like ambassadors, Minister of Foreign Affairs, policymakers, and international leaders. It was a dynamic space for a cross-generational dialogue, enabling young people to connect with decision makers and advocate for their own vision and a sustainable and inclusive future. Through those phases, we are not only gathering the perspective from, but also trying to empower young people to actively participate in shaping the policy and program that affects their life and the future for other generations, like David was mentioning. So, and we do believe that this approach will foster meaningful and long-lasting change driven by youths for youths. Yes. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nebi-san. Okay, now let's move on to Q&A session and survey. Can I pass the microphone to Terry-san?
So meanwhile, you could go and get our survey, or I could get it and put it on the chat box. So, dear participants, we were going through the background of this session because you understand that we have new young people that wish to engage in the Youth Agenda 2055. And we created this brief in order to make sure that we share all the relevant information to bring everyone at par so we can now move together. So far, so good. We have had an explanation of what TICAD is as a process. I would want to know if there's a participant who can tell us what TICAD stands for and what the mission is for TICAD. And we've also had the youth expectations of what we are expected to deliver and do as youths engaging in this process of the Youth Agenda 2055. And then we had a really good background from David, where he explained the idea, the vision of the Youth Agenda 2055, where it came from and where we hope it's going. And then now we have just heard from Nebi-san on the activities that we have done so far. So that's what we've been doing. So if I could now interact with you to respond to any of the questions you might have regarding what has already been shared or any insights you have about the process. So feel free to raise your hand or ask a question in the chat about the information shared so far, so good. And I can see we have 2 hands already. And I will start with the one that seems to have come up first, and that's Lamek.
Didi, can I come in quickly? There is also a question in the Q&A box, so maybe you can come back to that after the first question, if it's okay.
Oh, great. Yes.
All right, maybe you can confirm if I'm audible enough.
Yes, Lamek, please come in.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right. So based on your question, I think you'd mentioned about TICAD. What I got is that it stands for Tokyo International Conference. Tokyo International Conference on African Development. And also something I've picked up from the presentation is about the one by David developing the policy proposal. But I was curious enough to ask if the draft is ready or it's still in process. Then also another thing that I've gotten from this is that for the next one, we'll be having it in Yokohama next year in August. And of course, there was a good representation on how the design is, the future design approach that is being used to ensure that this vision is ideated in a more sustainable way. And which other thing? Also, whatever I got to hear about, like how the first, or rather last year, the previous conference took place, and how the views were gotten, the surveys that were done, and it's good that you guys are now bringing more young people on board, so that it's more like the policy bit is shaped by different voices from across the globe. So yeah, that's what I've heard from this. It's a good initiative. Also, the Agenda 2055. Thank you so much, and back to you. So those are the few pointers I was able to get from the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lamek. You have indeed grasped quite a number of points from the presentation that has been done so far, so good. I think what I would like to correct is that the 24th August session, the youth drive, is the one that already happened in Japan. And so after this Q&A, we're going to have a session where we'll talk about the upcoming activities. So first of all, we've talked about what happened in the past, but otherwise, everything you've said is great. And yes, so I will give Hudson the opportunity to also come in and speak, then go to the Q&A box. Hudson, please come in.
Yeah, thanks so much. Ramek had said already a lot, but to me it's just a comment as well as a question at the end of that comment. To my side is an observation that TICAD started in early 1993, like that, and it's working with UNDP as well as African Union. But I am not aware if youth living in villages, local youth, like those who living in rural and educated, if are aware with this organization, because
No, I think you're muted.
Have we lost Hudson?
hello.
Yeah,
Sorry.
we can hear
You're
you
back.
now.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
I hope I was addressing about the issue of communication gap or knowledge between the youth living in the rural areas and the youth living in urban areas. So I don't know what strategies are there to accommodate the youth living in rural areas. This is what I want to ask. Thanks.
All right. So that's one question we will respond to on yeah. So let me go to the Q&A box for now. A question from Fabrice. They ask, it's actually directed to David. David San, are you around? the question is for you. Thank you, David-san, for great presentation. I would like to suggest that we can have a youth focal point of every African country in order to raise awareness of the TICAD9 and Youth Agenda 2055 so that the youth can meaningfully engage. So that's sort of a question on if we can have a youth representative in every African country. Yes.
Thank you very much. This is a great question and something we have already started thinking about. And actually, we already have some key people that we are working with in different countries, but we are still expanding this strategy. And for your information, we are still discussing, but we will be holding a youth congress soon in Ethiopia, where we want to have youth from different parts of Africa to come to represent their countries, all right? And then when they come to that session, of course, that's where we start building also this relationship of expanding our focal point. So youth that will join that session will already be considered as a focal point for us, but we are working on it. It's a great idea, and get in touch and let's discuss how we can collaborate. Thank you.
Great. And so I'll go back to the question that Hudson asked about localization and point out that this briefing is our first effort to localizing the global process that we have been engaging in. We are using a virtual platform. That means online resources like meeting here in Zoom and also having social media pages that we can follow using our gadgets like mobile phones to allow us to interact. And this is one strategy of making sure that we get to that first country. When we say Africa, we mean 54 countries. So that is our first way of reaching African countries. And then, as it has already been explained by David-san, that we're going to look for many more ways to make sure that we now again reach the grassroots. So it's one step at a time. And yes, that's what we are engaging in. So that question that I've just responded to also responds to the question asked by Kaara in the Q&A box. And now we'll go to the third question by Rito. Rito says he's a Japanese boy. He's 15 years old, and he would like to actively participate in any discussions related to TICAD9. He asks if we have any volunteer programs or projects he can contribute in. Yuki, would you like to come in and respond to Rito's question?
Thank you, Rito-san. First of all, I really admire your braveness to step in for this initiative. You are mostly welcome for our project. If you are interested in, you are also invited to the planning team for this project as well. Anyway, for further discussion, you can contact us or contact me. I think Teddy will share our SNS link at the end of the session, so you can contact us and we can discuss how we can work together for that. Thank you.
Oh, great. So as we move on with the Q&A, I would like to point out that we have a survey that we would like to go out. So I want to see. Yuki, could you help me by sending the survey link to everyone?
In the chat box, right?
Yeah.
Give me a moment.
Yeah, and if it doesn't work in the chat box, I think we can use the Q&A, since there could be some sort of restriction that I'm seeing on my end despite being the host. But yeah, I wanted to point out that we would also like to take this time to introduce you to the first data collection that we want to engage with you, but it happens to be our second survey for this process. So while we are doing that, I think I can give another member an opportunity to ask their question, and the hand that is raised is from Indra Pramit Roy. Please come in with your question. Indra Pramit, you're raising your hand. Would you like to come in and ask your question? Okay, as we wait for him, we can go with the other hand that has just been raised. Lamausa. Lamausa, are you ready to ask a question? Yes. Okay, translation services are available. Yes, please ask your question, Lamausa. We have translation services. Yes, we can hear you.
Merci bien. OK. Donc, déjà, je félicite l'initiative d'associer la jeunesse au projet ITICA, qui va permettre à la jeunesse aussi de donner son point de vue, de pouvoir participer aux échanges. Je suis du Burkina Faso et je peux dire que j'ai vu des investissements ITICA au Burkina, notamment avec l'accompagnement des écoles.
Yes, please, David, take over as the moderator.
Je peux vous suivre pour l'interprétation, d'accord? C'est bon?
OK. Donc, vous m'entendez bien maintenant?
Allez-y seulement, je vais vous suivre pour l'interprétation.
Vous m'entendez bien?
Oui, oui, très bien, allons-y. Oh.
OK, merci. Voilà, donc je disais que je salue l'initiative d'impliquer la jeunesse pour les échanges autour du projet Zika. Ça sera vraiment intéressant de prendre les préoccupations et d'interagir avec la jeunesse. Je viens du Burkina Faso. Effectivement, au Burkina Faso, j'ai vu les réalisations du Zika, notamment avec l'accompagnement du milieu scolaire. Voilà. Maintenant, ce que j'aimerais plus, c'est si je peux avoir le point focal Zika au Burkina Faso, voilà, pour plus d'échanges et mieux collaborer. Et également, une question qui était venue, notamment comment participer à la prochaine rencontre Zika, éventuellement comment contribuer si on veut apporter des amendements, des éclaircissements ou bien des suggestions pour la meilleure tenue de ces rencontres-là. Donc, voici l'essentiel de mon intervention. Merci bien.
Merci. Yes, I see. So he's saying thank you for this great initiative of involving youth in this process, and he really admire this process. And then also he have seen several work of JICA in Burkina Faso. He's really grateful for that and happy that this is also going to be involving youth from now on. So his first question was to see how to be involved or get connection with JICA focal point of his country and make sure that he can, cooperate somehow. And then the second question is related to the policy proposal. How can youth like him be involved to bring his opinion and amendment to the process, ongoing process? Yes, so that the 2 points that he raised in this first question, stage. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Davidson. So to the second question on how youths are going to engage, we are going to have a presentation about the upcoming activities, but the very first way to engage is to fill in the survey that we have just mentioned, and it should now be on our the survey is already shared by Yasumi on the chat. So this is the first stage of engaging the youth that have come in here today. So if you could just click the survey form, it will be amazing, and start filling it in. That is one of the ways to make sure that we get your perspective and opinion that will go into the Youth Agenda 2055. And to respond to Lamek, yes, there is a draft that is going, that is already almost ready to be circulated for comments. And this is developed from the processes that have already been mentioned. We have had 3 major processes. We had the survey, then we had the 3-day breakout session, and then we had the first youth drive. So the content that has been, the data collection that happened at that point is what has been used to create the zero draft that is currently being edited. And once we have input from this survey, we will incorporate it, and the proposal will now be ready for circulation and for reading by everyone. So That's it. I think if the moderator says we have more time on the Q&A, we can pick one more question. Otherwise, we will have to do it on the chat.
Can I just tell him, Terry, that he need to answer the survey and be good?
Yes.
Ok. So, Monsieur Lamoussa, par rapport à votre question, surtout la seconde, voilà, nous avons déjà le processus en cours qui donne l'opportunité aux jeunes de pouvoir contribuer. Et la première façon de contribuer, c'est de remplir le questionnaire d'enquête. Ce questionnaire vous permet de donner votre opinion, de contribuer de votre façon dans un premier temps. Après ça, il y aura des sessions où on va vous inviter et vous pourrez aussi être impliqué directement dans le processus. Surtout, restez en contact avec nous et tout le processus vous sera communiqué progressivement. Donc, la première chose à faire, c'est de remplir le questionnaire de survey ici, comment on appelle, d'enquête ici. Merci. Hi, Eros. I'm good.
Perfect. So as I hand over, I will respond to the questions in the Q&A chat. And that is Professor Benjamin asking if the refugees are accounted for in this process. And we are saying yes. The TICAD process, as well as the Youth Agenda 2055 proposal and action plan, plans to incorporate all stakeholders within the youth category and also at the intergenerational level. And as we carry on with this discussion, we're going to see just how this is going to happen based on the events that we have planned. And the other question asked by Fabrice is on MOUs being signed and not including the youths. I will respond to this is the reason why through TICAD9 and beyond, the youth have come together as stakeholders to make sure that we create our own policy proposal and action plan that can lead to a memorandum of understanding with other governments and other organizations. But at the forefront, this initiative is going to make sure that as youths, we can represent ourselves and do what we can using the resources that we have without necessarily depending on other organizations. So this initiative is for the youth, by the youth. And with that, I will hand over to Midori-san for the next part of the program. Thank you.
Midori-san, you are muted.
Sorry,
yes,
apologies.
So let's
okay,
Midori,
now you can hear me.
Take over.
Right.
Okay.
Thank you, Terry-san, and everyone who raised your questions. We're gonna have the last Q&A session at the end, so if you still have any questions, please ask your questions at the end. Now let's move on to the presentation from Yuki-san, AYN.
Okay, but I think I will wait another 2 minutes for the participants to finish the survey answer.
Okay, yeah, then let's start from, let's start in a few minutes.
So this is for everyone. This is just a reminder. I posted a survey link in the chat box, and this is one of the way you can contribute or engage in this project. So don't miss out this opportunity. We highly appreciate if you could answer that. Thank you. Thank you for sharing it, Terry-san.
If anyone has a question regarding the survey that is being posted, that is being filled at the moment, please feel free to raise your hand. Remember, it's just a question focusing on the survey that we are filling at the moment.
And as the time comes, sorry for the short answering time, but you can come back to the survey after this session is over. So I would like to continue my presentation. And Middleton, can you switch?
To the next
Yes,
slide,
please.
right?
Yes,
Okay.
to the next. Yeah. And okay, hello everyone. Sorry to introduce myself at this timing. This is Yuki from Africa Asia Youth Nest. I am one of the co-representative of Africa Asia Youth Nest. And as David and Teddy-san explained, AAYN Africa Asia Youth Nest is one of the co-organizer of this project. And I will walk through the timeline of upcoming events related to the Youth Agenda 2055. So first of all, I have something very important to tell you. So please listen if you are still working on the survey. So as Teddy-san emphasized, this is an original activity of the youth. So including AYN, MAD, and GEM members, because we want to strengthen the relationship between African countries and Japan and to create a better impact on society. No one asked us to do that. So, and also we are also a youth, so we don't have strong financial base or anyone who is committed to project full-time. Actually, each of us has our own full-time job or activities other than these projects. So we are trying our best to maximize our ability and also time to make the impact together. So there are, of course, people or organizations such as JICA or UNDP who are willing to help us, but our plans are still flexible. So many of these timelines are still tentative and have not yet secured the funding too. So therefore, we hope that you can also enjoy the planning and process and also this flexibility with us. Okay, so starting from the beginning about the timeline for the upcoming events, I would like to review where this project started, when this project started. So we, AYN, NAD, and J, started this project from January 2024. Since then, we have been through youth questionnaire survey, the first youth questionnaire survey, and also 3 days future design session. And we have also, and through that process, we have gathered the voices of youth and discussed our common future we want between Africans and Japanese youth. And in August, our first youth drive were held as an official side event of TICAD9 ministerial meeting and launched. And that was our official launching event of this project. So that was the stage number 1. And through stage number 1, a zero draft of the Youth Agenda 2055 was drafted. And now we are at this stage will review zero draft from African and Japanese youth, and also TICAD host officials, experts, professionals, etc., to obtain feedback and explore the possibilities for future collaborations. Also, we will collect ideas for action plans, especially from youth, and explore possibilities for future collaboration. So the survey you are answering right now is one of the activity of this youth and stakeholder engagement process. And through this stage number 2, we will finish the youth writing of the youth agenda. And in stage number 3, we are planning to hand in the official and final version of the youth agenda to the higher officials of TICAD9 host. This is still tentative. We have not concluded to the detailed planning, but we are thinking to do it during March 2025. And after that, we will move on to stage number 4, TICAD9. So during TICAD9, we are thinking to have 2 events during the TICAD9. First one is the Youth TICAD. It is an international conference for youth change makers who are willing to be a bridge between Africa and Japan. And the Youth TICAD will convene ahead of TICAD9, the future we want at 2055. So this event will be action focused. So we will discuss action plans to achieve the future we want. And the second one is the TICAD9 official side event. That is an official publication of Youth Agenda 2055 and discuss the detailed future plans with not only among youth, but with other stakeholders in the society. So the difference between Youth TICAD and the TICAD9 official side events is that Youth TICAD is only for youth. It's an event for youth to discuss how we can co-create the future we want together. And for the TICAD9 official side event, it's going to be more like inclusive. We are going to engage more stakeholders and more generations so that we are going to discuss how we can make actions to achieve the future we want together. And that is the stage number 4. And this plan does not end with the submissions of recommendation. I mean, this project will not end by the end of TICAD9. It's going to be continued to the stage number 5 because we are committed to creating an impact. So like submitting proposal and action plan is not the end. We have to make it happen. So to that end, we are in this stage, youth and senior generation will work together to implement the action plans of the Youth Agenda 2055. And in addition, the results and the feedback will be monitored and evaluated before the next TICAD, leading to the next cycle of this cycle. In addition, can you switch to the next slide? Thank you. Next, I will introduce one of the specific event plans, which is the Second African Japan Youth Drive in Ethiopia in February. Youth Drive is a platform for youth and surrounding stakeholders to gather and discuss Youth Agenda 2055, which includes the future we want and action plans to achieve the future. So the first meeting was held in Tokyo in last August this year, as we have explained several times. And this youth drive will be the second one. We hope to hold the second one in Ethiopia. This is because Ethiopia will be the host of the 37th AU Summit next February. Through this, we are aiming to strengthen the stakeholder engagement of the African side. And many of the details of this second African Youth Drive is flexible and tentative. It's still planning stage. So many things are still undetermined, but we are discussing with stakeholders to make this a reality. Can you move on to the next slide? Thank you. This is the last of my part, and perhaps the most important one, because it is our core values. This is the most important. Okay, because even if the plan changes, or like even if the plan described today does not work, or even if those plans changes, these core values will remain the same. The first one is the inclusivity. We are committed to equal and fair participation of African countries and Japan, so that we are not aiming to make this agenda only by Japanese or by African. It's going to be a co-publication by African and Japanese. And the second core value is that the commitment to action, so that we appreciate your commitment to action, not criticism or like only comments. So we are very committed to actions. And then the third core value is the youth agency. So we will not initiate or support your idea, but we will challenge together when you are making a step by yourself to realize your idea. And the final one is the co-creation, which is a win-win relationship. We are committed to make an impact beneficial for both African countries and Japan by utilize each other's strengths. So if anyone feels the same way about this concept, like core values, and is willing to work with us, we would love to sail together or like sail together on the future journeys. That's all for my presentation, and I would like to give my microphone to Telly, which will be the next speaker.
Thank you, Midori, for sharing the slide. So we have just heard about the upcoming activities and the timeline we have for that. And so the next question would be, if you who are here with us today want and wish to move forward with us in engaging in these activities and preparing the Youth Agenda 2055 and the action plan. How can you do that? And on your screen right now, you can see the WhatsApp group, the Facebook, the LinkedIn, and the X links that are posted. And also, if you, Midori, you can switch to the next slide where they'll also see the QR codes in case they wish to scan them. But at the same time, I am resharing the same links on the text box right now. So that's a way for you to ensure that you join us, especially if you wish to have day-to-day conversation and ask as many questions as possible. Make sure you join the WhatsApp group, because that is going to allow you to have a one-on-one interaction with all the co-organizers of the session right now. So, and then for updates, you can also make sure that you follow our Facebook page, you join the LinkedIn group and page we have, and also follow the X, formerly Twitter, page that we have opened. And so just to make sure that you follow with us, the first thing you're going to do is continue filling in the survey and then organize on how we are going to have youth as stakeholders. Of course, we know we have a number of youth from different countries, but we are endeavoring to ensure that we have youth representation from all the African countries and as many Japanese young people as possible. And so what you're going to do is also, just as suggested, figure out who came from which country and if they can be the focal points through as an organization and also as an individual. So those are some of the things we're going to do and discuss in these social media pages that we have just shared right now. So join all of them so that you can engage with us and know how to move forward, especially in the activity we want to hold as the second youth drive. We're looking forward to partnering with as many African organizations. And so we'll be reaching out to you for your input, your logos, your membership, and all that in order to make sure that when we have this second youth drive, where we plan to review the edited zero draft that we're going to release by December, as Yuki-san has showed on the timeline, that we're going to have your input as an individual and also as an organization to make sure that when this proposal comes out, the policy action is prepared, it indeed focuses and includes all our perspectives as African youths so that it truly represents the future we want. And also the action plan will give us a way for us to know what we can do or what you have been doing and how you would like for it to be scaled up. And scaling up does not necessarily just mean getting finances from somewhere else. It might also be just getting exposure or collaboration with other youth entities. So we are trying to get youth as stakeholders to support their own initiatives. So we are hoping this, the Youth Agenda 2055 becomes the biggest proposal out here and an action plan that will walk our talk as youths, even as we look forward to getting different types of partnerships from these other various organizations that wish to join us. But let's remember that this is a youth initiative, that we want to be the ones creating it and the one leading it. And we are going to do that by co-creation of the Japan and African youths and coming together and helping each other with what we can, where we can, as young people. So again, I have just shared the links on the group if you want to join, and these are also the QR codes, and we will also follow up with an email with the same information, so you definitely have a way to engage with us. And that's it from me regarding how we can engage moving forward.
Yeah, thank you very much, Terry-san. So this is the end from our side. Let's get back to Q&A session. If you have any question, please raise your hand or put your question to the Q&A box.
Yeah, let me also post the survey link again, just so all of us can again fill it as we ask these questions.
Yeah, thank
We
you.
have already collected 19 answers. 19 answers to the survey. Thank you very much, everyone, and your contribution is highly appreciated.
Okay. Thank you so much. But I can see we are like 80 people at the moment. There's even a time that we had 86 people in. So please let's fill in the survey for your voice to count. Then we can switch to Q&As, and I can see we have Mosa Sido, who has raised their hand. Please come in with your question.
Oh, you are muted. Hi, Mr. San. You're muted.
Okay.
Okay.
Good afternoon or good morning. I don't know from where everyone is. Thank you for your presentation. Just my question is about the upcoming session or meeting, can I say, in Ethiopia, Addis Ababa. So I want to know how, if one want to participate, so how can he proceed for the participation if I want to attend? Because you just say that on, I think, upcoming February, they will have a meeting. UNF will have meeting in Addis Ababa. So I want to know if I want to participate, how can I do, or how can I proceed? That is my
Yes, please
question.
join the WhatsApp group that we have shared in our social media to be a part of the conversation. As Yuki-san mentioned, we have the idea to have this session, but everything is being organized by the youth. And at the moment, if you look at the screen on stage 5, we are fundraising and onboarding partners. So when you join the social media pages that we have just shared, then you're going to be a part of this organization. As we mentioned, this is being organized by the youth. Nothing is gatekept. So if you want to be a part of it, you are welcome, but you have to join the social media pages in order to be part of the conversation, whether you want to plan or attend. Yes.
Okay, thank you so much. If not, I think I'm already a member of the this social media and WhatsApp group. I think I'm one of I think Team 11, the last session about
Breakout session, yeah.
Yeah, so I think I am one of the members also. So I just don't know how to. That's why I asked discussion. But anyway, I will try to see in the group if there is a kind of conversation about it. I will know more about it.
Musa-san, thank you.
Can I
I
add
remember
something?
your face. Thank you for
Okay.
continuing. Thank you for continue have interest on our project, and welcome back. I'm looking forward to continue working with you.
Thank you so much also for your commitment for engaging everyone.
Yes,
David-san.
Let me add something to this. Thank you very much. I think your interest in this is greatly appreciated. I'm just going to add few words because I know many people will have the same question. And during my intervention, I was mentioning that we need everyone, all right? And you can come from different perspectives. So you could come as even a participant, but you could also come as an active partner, all right? Maybe one of the things we are seeking now is a potential partner to join this effort, let's say you know an organization or you belong to an organization who want to collaborate in different ways. It could be with funding, or it should be with or maybe just supporting youth to join this program. This kind of activity we are discussing with different stakeholders, but we want everyone who have any type of resource, any type of partner, any type of possibility to make this happen. We would like to discuss this further with you, not just as participant again, but as active role player. So keep that in mind and reach out to us and let's discuss. Thank you very much. I wanted to add that.
Thank you so much. That was helpful. We will now go to Emmanuel Lanko.
Okay, thank you very much, all. Thank you for the really nice presentation, David, JICA, and UNDP. These were really insightful. Now, it's not a question, it's more of a contribution, and it's related to the survey itself. I think some of the parts should be multiple choices, especially when we are asking for the different challenges faced by the communities, or maybe asking for who wants to identify the main threat to cultural preservation. There is quite a certain number of things, at least, that we need to be selecting, but narrowing the choice to only one won't give at the end a comprehensive understanding of what are the different issues at play. So it will be really interesting if by any means the survey could be edited and allow people at least to be selecting over two or one of the choices available. So that was my contribution.
Thank you so much. Nibisan, if you will be able to adjust the form to include the multiple choices going forward, we will appreciate that. Thank you for bringing that up. Yes, so we'll go to Eliud Kipro. Thank you. Eliud, please come in with your question.
Yes, I hope you can hear me clearly.
Yes,
thank you very much for thank you very much for the good work that you and your team are doing. I'm really impressed, and of course I heard that most of you are volunteers, which is really something very, very good. And my question goes to it's a question from someone who is very lazy, that I've not checked the Facebook. I mean, to understand, maybe it's there, or you touched on it at the beginning of the meeting. I think I was around 10 minutes late. So my question is, how do you define youth in your organization? Because of course it's youth agenda. And having defined the way you defined, of course, in terms of probably age, I don't know up to 40 or 35. It varies from country to country sometimes. I don't know how you define by yourself. And then after that definition, like, how do you plan to do some kind of moving forward? Because you are dealing with Agenda 2055, and by then most of you and us will be retirees. So how do you transition then, like from this youth to that future, so that as you exit the youth category that you would have defined? So how do you continue working together? Thank you very much.
Great. So to answer your question, Yuki-san, would you like to come in?
Yeah, can I answer for that question? How do we define the youth? So we have discussed the definition of the youth at the beginning of this project, because this definition is quite important. And we are mainly targeting someone under 35, but we are also not excluding someone who are not under 35. Sorry, my English is poor, but we define that youth as is someone who are in the transition of growing up from children to the independent adult, who are self-achieved to who they wanted to be. So if you define that you are during that transition, you could be the youth. Or maybe David, you can come in.
Yeah, I will come in for sure. This question was very interesting to me, because myself also, maybe I'm not youth, who knows? So if you are making this category, it means maybe many of us here might be out. So thank you for that question. It's really important. You will see in most of our approach of communication, we say youth-led policy proposal. All right, the youth-led policy proposal. It means we are working, of course, toward the future that we all want, but at the same time, we are saying that this policy proposal is led by youth. It doesn't mean that no one else cannot join. All right, so youth have the leadership, but it means everyone else who are concerned about this, who can contribute in different ways, who think they are also concerned about the future generation. Those people are all welcome to the process. So that's something I want you to keep clear in mind. Everyone in this room are concerned. As you make time to join this session, it means you care about it. If it's not about you, it's about your brother, or it's about your sister, or it's about your children, or it's about the fact that you think something has to be changed in this kind of a process. So we consider everyone that have that heart. So everyone in this room are concerned. So that will be the definition to me. So keep in mind, it's youth-led policy proposal. It doesn't exclude anyone. Thank you.
Great. And I could also add that according to the timeline, you're going to have an intergenerational stakeholder engagement in the reading and commenting of the youth proposal. So this means that it is indeed an open process where regardless of your age, person who wishes to inform the future based on your experience. Yeah, so and move to the next
so
one.
Teresa, me too. I just wanted to add some small things
Okay.
because this question is really interesting. Like, we were talking about the future design and the idea, like you were talking about the future. I think David said that it is led by youths, but the idea is what? It is that what kind of future do you imagine maybe for your kids, maybe for your grandchildren? What kind of environment do you want them to live in? For me, this is my trigger. For example, for us in many African countries, we have a lot of struggle, but I don't want me to solve this struggle and my grandkids be doing the same thing. So I want them to be in environments where, they have everything that I didn't have. They are solving different challenge. So if I was youth in 30 years, how do I see Africa? How do I see the world? How do I see Japan? That's one of our drive here. So it will be nice if we keep that in mind and we move forward. Terry, you are mute.
Alimi, Salifu, please come in with your question.
Thank you, Terry, and thank you, everyone, David, and Yuki and others from TICAD, AGN, and AY, and my name is Alimi Salifu. I'm, the founder of Partnership for Future Generations in Africa, and the co-lead of the Impact Coalition for Future Generations. And I don't have a question. I just have the, thumbs up to give to the team for bringing this together, because we at Partnership for Future Generations and the Impact Coalition, these are initiatives that we want to see across the continent, because we are all aware that in 70 years, Africa will have almost half of the world population. So we need to do something about it. So thank you, David, for speaking on behalf of every one of us on the continent, because we want a win-win partnership with whoever is coming to do business or relationship with African country. And as Nebi has mentioned, we don't want challenges that we are facing today. We don't want our children, our younger ones to face it in the next 10 years. So we want to make progress. And I want to assure you that at Partnership for Future Generations, we have resident ambassadors in all the 54 countries of Africa. So if you are willing, we are ready to, provide support, in terms of country representative and all other things that you want for us to be able to push this agenda to fruition. Thank you, everyone, for, bringing this together. Thank you. We look forward to, having a kind of positive dialogue and intergenerational support from various countries to achieve this agenda. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And looking at the time, we are going to take the last question from Colcock Jeanette. Haba, please come in with the question.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for the initiative. And I just have a question. I'm trying to fill out the survey, but here it's written urban rural settings. So I don't understand what does it mean, what they want us or what they are willing us to do, like urban, suburban, rural. I don't understand.
That question is going to Nebisan, and that is asking where you're based. Are you in an urban, which is called, you pronouncing as urban? Are you in an urban setting? That is, are you living in town, or are you living in way back at home? That's what is called rural. Or are you living in between the urban and rural settings? But I'll give it to Nebisan to explain further.
Yes, I think that the question was, yeah, you already gave the question. So the idea is that, urban usually is people who live in the big cities, and suburban is people who live like, if I take the case of people who know Japan, it will be the area like Chiba, around the big city, but they still have, and then rural area are people like, in the countryside. So I know there have been a lot of questions about the survey, so I will just want to stress something. This survey is a following up of everything that we have been doing. That's why you see that, I was asking, rather than asking multiple choice, it is a way to filter to see what is the most important things. No, people gave a lot of opinion the last time. So now we wanted to be more, of course, I am aware that you guys, you didn't participate. Many of you didn't participate in the preview phase. That's why I am really happy to hear your feedback, and I will adjust the survey. So I don't know if it is clear for the three area, big city, maybe small city, town, and then villages, rural area. Is it okay?
Is it clear now, Haba?
Yeah, thank you so much for the clarification. Thank you. I get it.
Great. And
You're
so
welcome.
I can see we have only one more hand before we hand over to Midori for closing. G Diallo, would you like to come in with your question as we close?
Yes, thank you. My name is Diallo, and I'm talking from Ivory Coast. It is in West Africa. I would like to say thank you for this amazing initiative. I used to live in Japan for 4 years and a half and left because of COVID. Now I work as a teacher in Cote d'Ivoire. So I just wanted to emphasize one thing. The thing is training. I used to be part of such movements, and I know some of you guys. Abu is a close friend from Senegal. Thank you, Abu. And I wanted to emphasize something, which is the training. Training people. We are all from different backgrounds. We speak different languages, French, English, Spanish. So it's very important to emphasize, the training, how people can communicate, how the cross-cultural communication can go on. So based on my experiences, it's going to help the youth, the African youth, to collaborate with the Japanese youth. Thank you so much.
Wow, what a way to close the Q&A session from Diallo. Thank you so much. We are definitely going to pay more and close attention to cross-cultural collaboration. I will now hand over to Midori, closing.
Okay, thank you everyone for the interactive Q&A session. Before closing, let's take a picture for this, remembering this amazing startup collaborations or any partnerships.
Great. Please switch on your camera if you're comfortable. We'll appreciate it.
We want your beautiful face. Come on.
And this
Open
might
camera,
be
guys.
shared via our SNS, so please be aware of that.
Just a minute. I need to check my makeup.
I have my
Yeah,
perfume
please
ready.
check
Don't
your
worry.
makeup.
Please switch on your cameras if you'd like to be seen as a part of this. Of course, we will share this publicly, as Midori has mentioned. Yeah, you can see more people switching on their cameras. This is good.
Okay,
Oh,
so
I see some
first
people
one.
in India.
Okay, I'm taking 3, 2, 1, cheese.
Smile.
Right. Okay. You'll take the second one since a lot of people are willing to turn on your camera. Okay. The last one. 3, 2, 1, smile.
Smile.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, you miss it.
Yeah.
That's all.
Okay. Now I get it. Perfect. Okay. Thank you very much for joining.
Thank
We are
you.
very much looking forward to working with you all. And
David,
please feel
n'oublie pas
free
de me garder
to...
les colas. Ah, sorry.
Please...
Moi, j'ai besoin de Gary et de Paprika.
What?
J'ai besoin
No,
de
no,
Gary
no.
et de
It was a
Paprika.
greeting in French. Just
Ah,
tell
okay,
me.
okay. I should have learned French more.
Came out
Anyways,
well
yeah.
because I heard for your pictures, but anyway.
Okay, thank you very much all for joining. Sorry if we missed some questions. Please feel free to ask questions anytime or leave your comments on this SNS shared right now. Yeah, if you haven't followed, please add.
I shared a comment, so I don't know if it's going to be responded, but I hope later.
Yeah, thank you.
Rai, what did you ask? Did you ask it in the Q&A or in the chat?
I asked in the comment section in the chat about if there's possibility about making your agenda in future more of like an African diaspora agenda to be proposed instead of something only for Japan, maybe collaborating with other African youths in diaspora for a more inclusive, approach to issues regarding diaspora, African diaspora youth.
I think I
You know.
answered your question in the chat. If you didn't see, I was
I
saying
know,
we are
you know,
that.
that was
So reach out.
here. So
Let's discuss more. We are very happy to collaborate with the diaspora, and of course, everyone is involved in this process. So please reach out. Let's connect and discuss more and see how we can bring the diaspora perspective on which is actually one of the most important for us as an African diaspora network. So please, thank you.
Thank you so much. We declare the meeting closed, and thank you again for staying for 1.5 hours with us. And I hope you've joined the WhatsApp group and followed our social media pages to keep in touch with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.